Imagine inviting your mother-in-law to move closer to help with childcare, but before you make the big plunge, you have her do a test run just to make sure like we're a cohesive unit, and it doesn't go very well. So now you're at this crossroads and you're wondering, oh my gosh, do I just hope like heck and continue on this path that this won't destroy our family relationships? Or do we just kind of wash our hands of this plan, squash it, and break my mother-in-law's heart? That is the time-sensitive, delicate question we have for us today. So like I mentioned, her husband and her, they invited the mother-in-law to move closer, but this isn't a small move. She's moving across state lines, which you guys, it's hard to do. I mean, it seems fun, but when you think about all the downtime, she's going to probably, until she gets plugged in with other people, she's going to have some lonely weekends. So it is a big move. It's a big ask. And so instead of just jumping into it, they decided, let's do a 3-week trial run just to make sure, this is good. And so they set it up, but before her mother-in-law arrived, her and her husband, they went over all their boundaries, expectations. They clearly communicated it with her so that everyone was on the same page and they were good to go. A couple of the things that they suggested to her, like one of the boundaries was that she would stay in a hotel rather than their house, because the last time she was there for an extended stay, it just didn't go as smoothly, so they thought this might help. So that was one boundary. And one of the expectations was, so their daughter would go to school, and then her mother-in-law would pick her up after school, spend 3 precious hours with her, just one-on-one time with her grandma, and then her mother-in-law would bring her home so that they could have family time. And then on the weekends, they would all hang out together. Now, the reason why it was really important during the weeknights that the family had alone time away from the mother-in-law is because also during this 3-week stint, she's having baby number 2. And they wanted to make sure that as a family of 4, they're bonding, they're connecting, and just really getting to know the baby as a family. At the end of the 3 weeks, her husband took his mom out, and he just wanted to know, how did you think it went? Like, what's your feedback? And to his surprise, she had a lot to say. She got extremely emotional and just spewed out, I felt used, I felt underappreciated, and I didn't feel like I got enough time with my granddaughter. This couple was shocked, because when you actually look at the amount of time the parents got with her versus her mother-in-law, it was crazy. She got more than them. And so they were just like, okay, red flags are going up all over the place. I don't know if we're going to be able to meet her needs. They're very worried. Some other things had them worried to begin with, because she had said, she's just made comments about the baby, the daughter. I've never had a daughter, and just really insinuating like she's going to be more of a co-parent than a grandparent, which puts them off and makes them nervous. Then with all this, they were just like, maybe this is a terrible, terrible idea. And that's their question. Their question is this repairable? Is this something that we can just set more boundaries on and really clear out the expectations and just keep going forward? Or is this going to be an absolute disaster, and should we abort mission and just not do the plan at all? For me, I see some really good things here. I see the fact that you and your husband are a great team. You got together, worked out your plan of what you needed in terms of boundaries, expectations. You clearly communicated it with her. Your mother-in-law, she agreed to everything. And the fact that you guys didn't hear from her and you didn't have any issues with her until the 3 weeks were up, that says a lot. That says she follows rules, she respects your boundaries, and I think that's really promising for when she does move closer to you. Because remember, no matter what, you will always have your boundaries. Whether she is states away or living next door, you still have boundaries. So that was a good thing. I also do think it is a good thing that she was transparent about her feelings. Sometimes people stuff and it just kind of comes out in passive-aggressive ways, and it's just not fun, and it gets really icky and murky. So I love that she was just like, I felt unappreciated, I felt used, and I didn't get enough time. Now the time thing is interesting because, like you mentioned, you're busy having a baby. during these 3 weeks. So you're getting used to having a newborn in the house again. You're doing the skin on skin contact. You're doing all the fun things with the baby, just kind of getting your rhythm in the house down. So you're probably like preoccupied and have your hands full, like literally. So then if I think about what is your mother-in-law doing during the day before she picks up her grandchild from school, maybe the days felt long and those 3 hours felt really short to her, which I forgot. There was another thing to mention. After the mother-in-law went back home, after she had that dinner with her son and was just like, she did take back a lot of the things she said, and she acts like less angry now. So that kind of confirms to me anyway that that might have been what's going on for her. Like it was just too much time being stuck in a hotel, and she truly did feel like I just didn't feel appreciated because maybe she felt a little ignored. I mean, you were preoccupied. You literally just had a baby. I don't know. Those are my thoughts. What I would do is I would call up my mother-in-law and I would just say, hey, Mary, I'm wondering if you could share with me how you feel appreciated the most. Some people love words, some people love gifts, some people love quality time, and some people like it to be reciprocated. So do you want me to shower you with words like you are such a big help to this family? Do you want me to get you a massage once in a while to show you how much I appreciate you caring for our kids? Do you want us to take you out to dinner once in a while? Or do you want us to come over and help you with housework? How do you feel taken care of and really appreciated and that we value you? So get that information from her. Then I would remind her, like if we go forward with this plan, these would be our boundaries, these would be our expectations. And then I would go very, very slowly when I talk about the co-parenting thing, and I would really make sure she knows her role, that she has the prized, precious gift of being grandma. Like, that's huge. And the kids already have parents, to do all that stuff, but she's grandma. And so really making sure she understands, like, don't be confused. This isn't a co-parenting relationship. You are Nana, we are the parents. The other thing I would do that might seem like, really? Yeah. I would forecast to her that moving to a new city, she's gonna have some lonely weekends. I mention this because sometimes she might have different expectations, like, you guys know, I don't know anybody in this town, blah, 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 and it could have some tension between you guys. But if you forecast, Mary, you're gonna have some lonely weekends until you get plugged in the community, because we are gonna have to have some time alone as a family. So make sure you forecast that. The biggest thing to remember is you can have boundaries, like I said, whether she lives next door or in another state. So the ideal thing for me would be to do a dry run over, but I don't know how realistic that is. You're in a time crunch. If she works right now, she would have to ask for time off again, plus a 3-week hotel stay. Like, that seems like that would be a lot of money. So maybe it's not realistic to ask for that. If you're still uncomfortable after those discussions, you could just do more frequent extended stays to try to build up rapport, to see like if this is really a good thing before you do the big move. And on the flip side, if you guys in your gut feel like, no, this feels actually like really wrong, like we really don't feel good about this, you have every right to pause the plan. You have every right to pause the plan. You can call her and say, you know what, Mary, we just want you to know how much you have melted our heart just knowing that you would move across state lines to help us with our kids. Like, thank you. And after the dry run, it's really come to our attention that we might not be able to meet your needs, being new into a new city, and we just don't want to damage our relationship with you. So right now, we're just going to pause the plan, and hopefully you understand. So that's what you can say if in your gut you're just like, no way. I think that's it. So those are my thoughts on this, but I'm really curious what the MYB community has to say about it. Thank you so much for asking your boundary question, and congratulations on your beautiful little family.